There is something holy, something resounding and ancestral about the day of your birth, not because candles are lit or cakes are cut, not because people sing to you in a tone slightly off-key, but because it is the day the universe cracked open and said, yes, you will enter the world now. Your birthday is not a coincidence. It is not random. It is evidence etched in time that you were chosen, handpicked, approved by time, by circumstance, by something greater than calculation. Your very existence bears the seal of intention. Your birthday is your proof. And when I say you are chosen, I do not mean preferred, or lucky, or more deserving than others. No, being chosen is a weight and a wonder. It means you were called into this moment, this century, this very breath of history, because something here, something happening now requires you, not your imitation of another, not your compliance with a mold, but you in your full and radiant particularity. So I ask you, not in demand but in reverence, do you know what it means to be necessary? Can you feel the power in being needed, not merely by your family or your job, but by time itself? In this room, in this world, you sit not as a placeholder but as a presence. You are not filler. You are not background noise. You were born for this, and that is not a slogan. That is a sacred reminder. Every cell in your body testifies to your arrival. Every breath you've ever taken is a whisper of you belong here. Look around, at the stories, the tragedies, the revolutions, the healing that must occur in our time. It cannot all be left to others. There is a gap shaped exactly like you in the mosaic of now. Your birth date is your signature on a contract with life itself. Some people may try to reduce your significance to metrics, to numbers, titles, outcomes. Some may speak to you in small ways, shrink your vision, sell you convenience, in place of conviction. But your birth already crowned you with a responsibility far larger than those constraints. You are called to live fully, not merely exist. You are called to love deeply, not perform affection. You are called to build and break and mend, to sow seeds for trees under which you may never sit. That is the call of the chosen, not privilege, but purpose. Purpose is a demanding friend. It does not knock gently at your door. It doesn't ask if you are ready. It arrives in dreams that won't let you sleep. It lingers in the ache of doing work that feeds others even when it exhausts you. It hums beneath your skin when you speak truth in rooms that prefer silence. Purpose will not leave you alone, because it remembers why you were born even when you forget. And so on your birthday, purpose claps its hands and says, ah yes, you're still here. Let's get to work. Now I am not here to glorify suffering or to romanticize struggle. The journey of the chosen is not a straight line upward. It dips, it bleeds. There are seasons when the light feels lost and the silence deafens. There are days when faith folds in on itself, and joy seems reserved for others. But I have seen how even in the darkness, the chosen remember their light. They may falter, but they do not fall forever. Because they understand survival is not the same as living, and living without meaning is a kind of spiritual drought. When you were born, the world rearranged itself. It adjusted to make room for your story, and each year that you mark that moment, each birthday, you are not just getting older. You are testifying. You are affirming, again and again, I am still here. I am still part of the plan. You may not know what the plan looks like. That is all right. You are not the architect, but you are the vessel, the witness, the worker. And your work, whatever form it takes, matters. Whether you are a teacher shaping minds, a healer, mending bodies, an artist giving voice to the invisible, a parent tending the garden of another generation, whatever your work, let it be done with the awareness that you are chosen. Let your work refuse mediocrity. Let it reject apathy. Let your life stretch wide enough to shelter others in your wake. The chosen are not content with small living. They do not tiptoe through life, fearful of offense or failure. They walk with a knowing, even when they are afraid. And let me tell you something about fear. It is not your enemy. It is a signal. Fear is often the body's way of saying, This matters. The chosen feel fear deeply, because their mission is real. But courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision that your purpose is bigger than your fear. The chosen keep walking, even when their knees shake, even when their voice trembles, because something in them knows their birth was not a random event, it was a declaration. I want you to remember that today. I want you to hold it like a torch. Because in the world we live in, drenched in distraction, numbed by comparison, pulled constantly toward conformity, it is easy to forget your birthright. But there is no one else born with your fingerprints, no one with your exact blend of history and hope, your scars and your stories. You are the only one who can do what you were born to do. Your birthday proves it. Your arrival in this world was an assignment. And assignments are not always glamorous. Sometimes they require anonymity. Sometimes they look like loving people who may never say thank you. Sometimes they look like quiet diligence, integrity, when no one is watching, bravery, when applause never comes. But chosen people do not do their work for praise. They do it because something inside won't let them do otherwise. That is what it means to be accountable to your calling. I am speaking to professionals, yes, and students, and parents, and artists, and skeptics, and dreamers. But more than that, I am speaking to souls. I am speaking to the part of you that wonders if it's all worth it, if your life carries weight, if your birthday is just another day. And I am telling you now, your birth was no accident. It was an answer to a problem, to a hope, to a prayer. Someone whispered decades before you came. You may not know the full extent of your impact. That's all right. Light does not need to understand the shadow to illuminate it. What matters is that you shine, that you keep showing up, that you live with the audacity to believe that your existence has meaning, because it does. Because you were born, that is your proof. Think of the countless chances that had to align for your birth to happen, the oceans of possibility your ancestors had to cross, the wars survived, the injustices endured, the losses grieved. Think of all the decisions, the miracles, the near misses that brought you to this hour. And then dare to believe that your life is not incidental, that your birthday is not mere ritual, but ritual with meaning. There will be times when the world tries to erase that meaning, when systems oppress, when voices are silenced, when the tide of cruelty or indifference rises. But the chosen do not dissolve in despair. They find a way. They make a way. They are the way. The chosen are not those who never break. They are those who break open and keep loving anyway, who use their cracks as windows for others to see the light. So on this day, your day, walk taller, speak louder, listen more deeply, love more wildly, rest more fiercely, because rest too is resistance. Rest says, I am worth restoration. You were not born just to hustle. You were born to be whole. And in the days that come, remember, this world does not need perfect people. It needs present people. People who show up for life, who embrace their responsibility to be a force for something good. People who live their birthday, not as a monument to self, but as a reminder that they have been given another year to be a vessel of love, of truth, of justice. You are that person. You are chosen. Let your birthday remind you. Let it humble you. Let it honor you. You are not here by mistake. You are not here by accident. You are not here alone. You are here because something in the universe bent toward your birth and said, yes, this one. So go forward, chosen one, with your heart tender and your spine strong, with your joy intact and your wounds still healing, with your story unfolding, still messy, still beautiful. Go forward, not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. You were born for this. And when next year comes around, and the candles are lit once more, may you greet them not as markers of age, but as beacons, as tiny flames that echo the original fire placed in you when you were born. A fire that says, I am still here, I am still chosen, and I am still ready. And while you carry that flame forward, remember this truth: being chosen does not make life easier, it makes life fuller. It doesn't protect you from heartbreak, but it makes your healing sacred. It doesn't shield you from failure, but it makes every fall a form of instruction. The chosen don't live in immunity, they live in intention. They are not spared from pain, but they are called to use it. And so when you stumble, as you will, as all who risk something real do, you must not take that stumble as a sign you are unworthy. You must see it as confirmation that you are on the path, that you are moving through the fire, that forges rather than destroys. Let us speak plainly. There will be days when the mission of your life feels far from noble. It may look like spreadsheets, like long nights at the hospital, like standing behind a podium no one listens to, like sitting in a quiet room wondering if your words matter. And yet, even then, your chosenness is not revoked. It is not diminished. It does not expire under pressure. The evidence of being chosen is not always found in praise or visibility. It is often buried in your persistence, in your refusal to give up on your better self, in your decision to live in alignment with the call that brought you here. If you wait for the world to validate your birthright, you may wait your whole life. But if you choose each day to validate it yourself, to live like you were meant to be here, then you change the terms. You stop asking for permission and start embodying purpose. And that embodiment is not only about ambition or productivity. It is about how you love, how you forgive, how you speak when you are angry, and how you remain soft when the world asks you to harden. The chosen are not defined by their performance. They are marked by their presence. There is something unmistakable about a person who knows they are living on purpose. They walk with quiet gravity. They listen with care. They speak with clarity, not because they know everything, but because they know who they are. In this world so obsessed with achievement, so frenzied by comparison, your birthday is a radical act. It is a quiet declaration that your existence is enough, that your value is not up for negotiation, and that matters now more than ever. In a culture where people measure worth in likes, in headlines, in fleeting applause, you are not your resume, you are not your follower count, you are not your failures, you are not even your success. You are a living answer to a question life itself dared to ask. You are a singular expression of creation, irreplaceable and unrepeatable. And so what will you do with this year you've been given? What will you create? What will you let go of? What will you repair? What brave conversations will you have? What patterns will you interrupt? What story will you stop telling yourself, so that you can finally begin living the one that is waiting for you? Because being chosen is not a fixed state. It is a call to action. It is not a label. It is a lifelong conversation between who you are and who you are becoming. I know many of you have walked through years that felt too heavy to hold. Some of you have buried dreams, buried loved ones, buried parts of yourselves that felt too tender to carry anymore. And yet, here you are. You woke up this morning with breath still in your body. You walked into this space with stories still untold, songs still unsung. That is not by accident. That is by design. The very fact that you have survived is evidence that your story is not yet done. And so we return to the simple, undeniable truth. Your birthday is proof that you are chosen. You were chosen then. You are chosen now. You will continue to be chosen as long as you choose to answer the call. But answering that call is not always glamorous. Sometimes it means saying no when the world tells you to say yes. Sometimes it means being misunderstood. It means walking away from the comfortable toward the necessary. It means knowing when to rest, when to speak, and when to stay silent. And all of this, every decision, every act of courage or compassion, is part of honoring the gift of your life. Because that's what this is, a gift. It is not a transaction. It is not something you earned by merit. It is something given. And like all great gifts, it comes with a responsibility to be used well. Use it well. Use it to uplift someone who has forgotten their own worth. Use it to build something that outlasts you. Use it to speak truth, especially when lies are more profitable. Use it to laugh with your whole being, to cry without shame, to dance when no one else understands the rhythm. The chosen do not wait for approval to begin their dance. They move with the music inside them, trusting that someone somewhere will feel the beat. And if you ever feel unworthy of being chosen, if the weight becomes too heavy, the world too loud, return to that first moment. The moment of your birth, the moment the world changed simply because you entered it. No one else had to approve it. No one else had to witness it. It was enough that you arrived. That is where your power began, and that is where your power remains. Let your birthday be a moment of remembering, not just celebration, not just reflection, but a sacred remembering of why you came. Remember the fire, remember the dream, remember the voice inside you that will not be silenced. You may be weary, but you are not finished. You may be afraid, but you are not abandoned. You may be uncertain, but you are still chosen. I have seen what happens when chosen people rise. I have seen what they build. I have seen how they heal. I have seen how they carry communities, how they whisper freedom into places long silenced. I have seen them show up in classrooms, in boardrooms, in kitchens, in protests, in pulpits, in prisons, and every time their presence says the same thing. I am here. I matter. I was born for this. So yes, blow out your candles, cut your cake, receive your cards and your calls. Let yourself be celebrated. But then, when the room quiets, when the confetti settles, remember the deeper meaning. Remember the moment beneath the moment. Your birthday is not simply a marking of time. It is an invitation to rise again. It is a drumbeat. It is a summons. You are not just getting older. You are getting closer. Closer to the truest version of yourself. Closer to the impact only you can make. Carry that with you. Let it humble you and empower you. Let it remind you that your time is not endless, but it is enough. You don't have to do everything. You just have to do your thing. With heart, with courage, with the grace that only the chosen understand. For even when you do not feel ready, your birth has already declared you worthy. So go forth, not in haste, but in confidence. Let this day be your reminder. You are not waiting to be chosen. You were chosen from the very beginning. The world is not still deciding about you. The decision was made the moment you drew your first breath. Let your life be your answer. Let your days be your offering. Let this year be your testimony that you were born, not merely to survive this world, but to shape it. And one day, long from now, when your name is spoken by those who come after, may they say not just that you lived, but that you lived as one who knew they were chosen. That you gave your time, your talent, your truth, and your tenderness to something greater than yourself. That you left behind not only footprints, but fruit. That you honored your birthday, not with noise, but with meaning. That you turned your existence into a legacy. That is what it means to be chosen, and that is what your birthday proves. You are the one we've been waiting for. You are the one we still need. Let your life speak it. Let your steps show it. Let your soul rise to meet it. You are chosen, and you always have been. So when the noise of the world grows louder, when the demands, distractions, disappointments, and doubts start to clutter the corridors of your mind, let your birthday be the anchor that holds you. Let it be the gentle return to center, a quiet rebirth each year that pulls you back to your essence. In a culture that teaches us to race, to rush, to accumulate and compete, the chosen walk differently. We walk with awareness. We know the terrain beneath our feet has been tilled by those who came before, and we know we walk not only for ourselves, but for the ones who cannot yet, or no longer do. That is the dignity of being chosen. It is personal, yes, but never selfish. It is intimate, but never isolating. It binds us to one another, thread to thread, soul to soul, in a great tapestry of collective becoming. Every day you wake up is another chance to say yes. Yes to your calling. Yes to your conscience. Yes to being the version of yourself that refuses to shrink to fit comfort zones. There are entire rooms waiting to be changed by your voice. There are entire systems longing for your imagination. There are children watching your example, strangers catching strength from your resilience. And though you may not always see it, your existence is already creating ripples. The way you hold space for another's pain. The way you choose integrity over expedience. The way you choose kindness, Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. These are not small things. These are sacred things. This is the work of the chosen. You are not here to be invisible. You are not here to move through life unnoticed, unloved, unlit. You are here to take up your space, not arrogantly, but authentically. You are here to break the silence in your lineage, to repair the broken narratives passed down through generations, to add beauty to the human story in a way that only you can. And I say again with no trace of doubt, your birthday proves you were sent here for such a time as this. It is the stamp that says, you are on the roster. You are already on the field. The game has begun. And though you may fumble, you do not forfeit. If you were waiting for a sign, for permission, for some cosmic green light to begin becoming all that you are, consider this your confirmation. You don't need another degree, another title, another round of applause to be worthy. You just need to remember that when the world began its spinning, and life began unfolding in its layered, miraculous way, your name was whispered into it, a name full of possibility, a name that matters, a name that was not an afterthought, but a deliberate addition to the constellation of humanity. There is someone out there waiting for your story, waiting to hear that they are not alone, waiting for the poem, or the policy, or the protest, or the painting that will remind them to keep going. Don't withhold yourself from the world, because you are afraid of being misunderstood. The chosen are not always embraced in the beginning. Sometimes their vision is too bold, their clarity too sharp, their purpose too precise. But it is that very clarity that carves paths for others to walk. You are a trailblazer, whether you ever see the path you're making or not. There is something to be said about celebrating quietly, about knowing your worth without needing to shout it. And yet, there is also something sacred in saying out loud, I was born, and that means something. In a society that rewards busyness and confuses self-neglect with humility, claiming the significance of your birth is revolutionary. It is saying, I am not just another face in the crowd, I am part of the fabric. It is saying, I have roots and wings. I belong to something ancient, and I carry something needed. So use this day, and the days after it, to reflect with honesty. Ask yourself, have I been living like I am chosen? Have I allowed fear to gatekeep my future? Have I honored the gifts within me, or buried them under doubt and delay? And if the answer isn't what you hoped, if you realize you've been dimming your light, or ignoring the nudge within, you need not shame yourself. Chosen people do not live in regret, they live in recommitment. They begin again, and again, and again. That is part of the beauty. You are not behind, you are being refined. Do not let age dissuade you. Whether you are just entering adulthood, or walking into your 7th decade, the calling remains. The chosen are not limited by time, they transcend it. Some people awaken to their purpose at 15, some not until 70. But the moment you say yes, all the days before begin to make sense. The patterns you couldn't explain, the pain that once seemed arbitrary, the roads you didn't understand. Suddenly you realize it was all pointing here, it was all preparation, even the silence, even the waiting, even the detours. And so as you move forward, make peace with your past, not because it was perfect, but because it is finished. Your birthday is not a demand to dwell on what has been lost, but a call to honor what still remains. There is still breath, there is still grace, there is still time. What will you do with it? Who will you forgive? What bitterness will you release? What dream will you revive from the ashes? The chosen do not carry dead weight into new seasons. They mourn, they honor, but then they move. They understand that legacy is not just what you leave behind, it's what you live now. You don't have to wait for a eulogy to define your impact. Every conversation, every decision, every act of love is writing it already. So write something worth reading, live something worth remembering, and not just for applause, but for alignment, not just for credit, but for contribution. You are not here to be perfect, you are here to be present, fully, fiercely, faithfully. You are here to turn your moments into movements, your wounds into wisdom, your scars into stories. That is what the chosen do. They do not hide their humanity, they elevate it. They do not pretend to be invincible, they embrace their vulnerability as the gateway to real power. And that power, once awakened, is unstoppable. Look at the world around you. Look at the crises and the beauty, the chaos and the creativity. Now tell me that your presence does not matter. Tell me that your voice isn't needed. Tell me that the day you were born doesn't mean something monumental in the context of this moment. You cannot, because you know, deep down, that the timing of your birth was no accident. You were planted, not dropped, sent, not misplaced. So plant your roots deep in that truth. Let your actions spring from that soil. Let your relationships be nurtured by that understanding. Let your work be infused with that clarity. The world is full of people chasing noise. But you have a note to play. A melody only you can contribute. A sound that, once released, will echo in places far beyond your reach. So play it, even if your hands shake, even if the room doesn't applaud. Play it anyway. Because when you do, when you live like you are chosen, you give others permission to do the same. You become a mirror in which they see their own reflection more clearly. You become a lighthouse in the fog of their forgetting. You become evidence that a life can be whole even when it is hard. That a heart can still open after being broken. That a soul can still sing even when it has wept. And isn't that what we need more of? Not more idols. Not more noise. But more chosen people living honest, whole, purpose-driven lives. People who understand that a birthday is not just a date, but a declaration. A promise that life made to the world through you. A vow that you are here for a reason, and not just any reason, but one that will require all of you. So offer all of you, not perfectly, but willingly. That's what being chosen is about. And that is what your birthday proves again and again and again. There will come a time, perhaps today, perhaps years from now, when someone looks into your eyes with trembling hope and asks how you did it, how you survived what should have broken you, how you kept moving when everything said stop, how you created beauty in the face of pain, and how you still believe, still serve, still sing. And when that moment comes, you won't need to recite credentials or boast of achievements. You will only need to say, I remembered who I was. I remembered I was chosen. Because the world does not need more polished perfection. It needs more authentic courage. It needs those who have been through the fire and emerged with their humanity intact. It needs those who can testify, not with fanfare, but with humility. You are such a person, or you are becoming such a person. And your birthday, this annual homecoming to your own origin, is not a day to overlook. It is the great whisper of the universe, echoing back to you. Yes, you are still part of the story. You are still needed in the telling. It may feel strange to carry such weight in something we often celebrate with candles and cake. But that is the paradox of a chosen life. The deepest truths are often hidden in the simplest rituals. What seems ordinary is often sacred. What seems like tradition is, in fact, transformation waiting to happen. And so, as you mark another year, do not rush past the ritual. Sit with it. Reflect with reverence. Ask yourself not just how old you are, but how fully you have lived. Not just how much time has passed, but how much of your soul has been expressed in that time. Have you loved deeply, spoken truly, offered generously? Have you honored your anger without letting it become a cage? Have you nurtured your joy without turning it into performance? These questions matter, not to shame you, but to sharpen you. Because the chosen are not content with drifting. They are deliberate. They are awake. They take inventory of the soul, not just the calendar. You were not born to be a shadow of someone else's dream. You were born with your own light. And that light, whether it flickers or blazes, is essential. Do not dim it to appease those who are uncomfortable with its brilliance. The world may ask you to be smaller, to be quieter, to make yourself more palatable. But your calling is not to please, it is to embody truth. And the truth is this: the day you were born, the